Welcome to ClefScribe. If you've ever heard a melody, whether it's a song on the radio, something you just hummed to yourself, or a recording you made, and wish that you could return that into sheet music that you can edit freely and play from, that's exactly what ClefScribe was built to do. ClefScribe is an AI-powered music transcription studio that's within your browser, where you upload an audio file or MIDI file, and within seconds, the app's artificial intelligence analyzes the audio, identifies the musical notes, and generates for you a project where you can edit the transcription, listen back to it, simplify it by difficulty level, and explore it as printable sheet music or a music file. There's no musical training required to use it, and nothing to install. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the entire app from start to finish, including how to create an account and sign in, how to upload audio, how to create a project, how the transcription works, how to use every tool in the editor to refine, customize, and export your music in a format such as a PDF you can print and practice from, or a digital file you can import into a music production software. This is the ClefScribe landing page, where it introduces the main purpose of the app, which is to transform audio into beautiful sheet music. The three main features of the platform are described here. You can drag and drop audio files directly into the app in any common format, including MP3, WAV, and MIDI. The transcription engine processes your audio instantly. With pro-level editing, once transcription is complete, you have the option of transposing the music to different keys, adjusting the tempo, and manually adding or removing individual notes from the staff grid. The platform is designed to feature live collaboration. You can share your projects, leave comments, and maintain version history. ClefScribe was built for a broad range of different types of users, including teachers, who can use it to batch transcribe class demonstration recordings and then share those sheets with students of different skill levels. Bands and ensembles, who can use it to transcribe recordings and transpose parts of different instruments. For example, switching to B flat or E flat, tuning for brass or with woodwind players. And solo creators, who want to adapt their own melodic ideas, receive AR harmonic suggestions, explore their compositions in professional formats. Beginners can use simplified notation to make music easier to read, while more advanced users can choose more detailed transcription modes and export formats like MIDI or MusicXML. To access ClefScribe, you'll need to create a free account. At the top, there are two main options: sign in and get started. Signing in enables your project's history, folders, and saved versions to stay connected to your account. When you click Get Started from the landing page, you're brought to this screen. There are two ways to sign in. The first is via Magic Link. You enter your email address here and click Send Magic Link. ClefScribe will email you a one-click login link. You don't need to create a password, and you don't need to remember one. Just click the link in your email and you're in. This is more convenient and more secure than traditional passwords. The second option is to continue with Google, which lets you sign in instantly using your existing Google account with a single click. If you've already created an account, the sign-in screen looks nearly identical. The difference is you'll see Welcome Back at the top, and at the bottom there's a Create an Account link in case you're new. Once you're signed in, you're taken directly to the dashboard. Let's walk through what you'll find there. This is your ClefScribe dashboard. This is the starting point for creating new transcriptions and managing your existing projects. On the left side of the screen, you have the navigation sidebar. From here, you can move between the dashboard, editor, community, batch, history, and settings. And on the upper right, you'll see a panel called Quick Tips, which provides helpful reminders about the app's features as you work. In the center of the dashboard, there is the upload area. This is where you can drag and drop audio files, or click to browse for a file from your computer to begin a new project. We'll use this in just a moment. Below the upload zone, you'll see your recent projects. Once you've created projects, they'll appear here as cards, showing the project title, instrument, key, and tempo, along with quick access buttons to open them directly in the editor or share them. On the right side of the dashboard, you have the Quick Tips panel, which gives you a few reminders and important tools, such as how to use the Transpose control, how you can adjust the difficulty level, or how to click the staff grid to add and remove notes. And below that is the feedback panel, where you can report inaccuracies in any transcription issues or share ideas directly with the development team. Now let's look at the left sidebar. You'll notice it has several navigation options. Dashboard is where you are right now, the upload and home screen. The editor takes you into the sheet music editor for whichever project is currently selected. The community is a space for discovering and sharing public sheet music projects. Batch is a tool for uploading and transcribing multiple audio files at once. The history is the chronological log of all your projects. And this is where your account settings and cloud storage integrations are stored. At the bottom of the sidebar, you'll also see your project folders section. This is where your projects are organized and can be put into folders. So as your library grows, you can keep different songs, exercises, or assignments separated. You can create custom folders like piano pieces, class recordings, or band parts, and assign projects into them to keep everything organized. You can click Manage Folders to create, rename, or delete folders at any time. Existing projects appear nested beneath their folder in the sidebar, so you have one-click access to any project without needing to go back to the dashboard. At the very bottom of the sidebar, you'll see your account name and a sign out button. There's also a minimize button that collapses the sidebar if you want more screen space while working. The upload zone accepts the following file formats: MP3, WAV, M4A, FLAC, MIDI, and WebM, which covers virtually every common audio format you'll encounter, whether it's a downloaded song, a voice memo from your phone, a studio recording, or an existing MIDI file. The file size limit is 50 megabytes per file, and your total cloud storage across all uploaded files is tracked. So in other words, you can keep track of how much space your uploaded files are using. Your current usage is displayed just beneath the upload zone. To upload, you can simply drag and drop a file anywhere onto this zone. Alternatively, you can click anywhere inside it to open a standard file browser and select a file from your device. Once you drop the file, ClefScribe first checks that the file type and file size are supported. You'll see a waveform visualization of your audio file appear. As for the background and how this app works, it's a loading machine learning model called Basic Pitch, which was originally developed by Spotify's Audio Intelligence Lab. You're running it directly inside your browser using a framework called TensorFlow.js. There is no audio being sent to an external server for processing, rather the entire AI transcription happens locally on your device. For longer audio files, the app will present you with this audio segment selector dialog. The transcription engine is optimized for audio segments between approximately 10 and 60 seconds in length, and especially works best with simple melodies or solo instruments. This is because pitch detection on longer, dense audio can produce overwhelming amounts of data that can become difficult to work with as sheet music. More complex audio, like dense piano pieces or full background music, may still work. The result would be more of a simplified approximation rather than a full, perfectly adapted score. ClefScribe therefore lets you manually choose exactly which portion you want transcribed, as it can only process part of your file at a time. You can see your audio file rendered as a waveform here. You'll drag the start and end handles to select the portion you want, and the duration counter update to show you how many seconds you selected. The minimum selectable segment is 10 seconds. You can also click the preview button to play back the portion you selected, so you can confirm you've chosen the right part of the recording you want before making the final selection. The reset button sets your selection back to the beginning of the file. When you're satisfied with your selection, click Transcribe Selected Segment, and the AI will process that specific portion of the audio, or then begins uploading and preparing the audio. You'll see the Upload Progress section appear, which shows the file name, the current status, and the percent progress. Once transcription is complete, the app prompts you to create a project from the result. This is where the transcription itself can become a saved, editable project in your account. You can either discard the transcription or click Create Project. After clicking a Create Project, ClefScribe opens a project creation window. Here, you can give your project a name and organize it. The title field is pre-filled with the file name of your uploaded audio. You can keep that name or type a custom title here. Below the title, you can also choose where to store the project and assign it to a project folder. If created folders in the sidebar, they'll appear here as options. If you haven't set any up yet, or want to keep things simple, you can also leave the project unassigned in the root area with no folder, and it'll appear under the default root projects level. Or you can alternatively place it inside an existing folder. If you want to organize your library further, you can open the folder manager and create or manage folders. Once you're ready, click Create Project. I'll be titling my project Piano Melody and saving it inside a folder storing piano tracks. After the project is created, ClefScribe shows you a file information summary. This gives you a quick confirmation that the upload and transcription were successful. It shows the file name, the file size, the file type, upload time, duration, and how many notes were detected. From here, you can close the summary or open the project directly in the editor. I'll click Open Editor. This is the ClefScribe editor, which is the workspace where all the interactive transcription tools are provided. The editor is divided in three main areas. On the left side, you have the Notation Tools panel. This is your control center for all the musical and display settings. Key signature, tempo, transpose, instrument, and difficulty level are all controlled and adjusted here, along with your export buttons. In the center, you have the main editing area, which can be toggled between two modes. The grid view, which displays your transcribed notes as color blocks on a scrollable piano roll style grid, and the sheet music view, which renders the notes as traditional printed musical notation. On the right side, there are three additional panels: the AI assistant, versions, and comments, which are tools for musical suggestions, saving project versions, and collaborating with others. At the very top of the editor, you'll see the project's title and the currently selected detected key and tempo. There are also 4 action buttons: play, save, share, and report. Let's look at each area in depth. Starting with the Notation Tools panel on the left, this is where you configure how your transcription is displayed and how it sounds. The key signature dropdown shows the musical key of your project. Something worth knowing is that ClefScribe auto-detects the key from the notes it transcribes. When you open the project, the app runs an analysis of all the note pitches it identifies, weighs them by how often they appear, and how long they last, and determines the most likely key. For example, C major, G major, F sharp minor, and so on. When its confidence is high enough, it can suggest that key for you to apply. If the auto-detected key doesn't look right, you can click the drop-down manually select the correct key, and the app will use your selection for the rest of the session. Below that is the tempo control. This is displayed in BPM, beats per minute, which is the standard measure of how fast or slow a piece of music is. The default is 120 BPM, which is a moderate pace. You can drag the slider left to slow the tempo down, or right to speed it up. Or you can type a number directly. This affects how your notes are timed during playback and how the sheet music is notated. The transpose control shifts the entire piece up or down a pitch. The values displayed in semitones, which you can imagine are like the individual steps on a piano keyboard, both white and black keys. The control ranges from -12 to +12, which covers a full octave in either direction. This is useful if you transcribe the song in one key but want to play it in a different key. For example, transposing down 3 semitones to match your vocal range, or transposing up 2 semitones so it's in a more comfortable position on your instrument and is adapted for a specific selected instrument. The instrument selector lets you choose which instrument the sheet music is being written for. The available options are piano, violin, viola, cello, trumpet, clarinet, flute, and guitar. Selecting the right instrument changes how notes are allowed to stack. Piano, for instance, supports full polyphony, meaning multiple notes can play simultaneously across 10 voices. String and wind instruments, like violin, cello, trumpet, flute, and clarinet, are monophonic, meaning they can only play one note at a time, so the editor filters the transcription accordingly, keeping the single most prominent note at each moment. Guitar falls in between, allowing limited polyphony of up to 6 notes, which matches the physical constraint of 6 strings. One of the most important controls in the entire editor is the difficulty or simplification mode. ClefScribe offers 4 difficulty levels: Raw, Pro, Intermediate, and Beginner. These don't represent 4 different transcriptions, they represent 4 different levels of filtering applied to the same transcription. Here's what each one does. Raw shows everything the AI detected, with minimal filtering beyond basic timing quantization. If you're analyzing a complex piece of music or want the most detailed, faithful representation of what the model heard, with more notes and more complexity, this is the mode to use. Be aware that for dense or complex recordings, this can produce a very busy grid, so it may be harder to read. Pro is a step up from Raw in terms of readability. This mode applies light noise cleanup to remove very weak or extremely brief notes, while keeping the full melody line and most of the accompaniment. This is the best choice for most use cases where you still want a high-level musical detail without overwhelming clutter. Intermediate is the default mode when you first open a project. This is a balance between detail and clarity. It is designed to make the transcription cleaner and more readable in its arrangement by filtering out lower confidence notes, while still preserving the main melody and light accompaniment. Beginner is the most simplified mode. This keeps only the main melodic line and removes decorative or ornamental notes, accompaniment, and any notes below a minimum duration threshold. The result is the clearest, most playable version of the piece. This is ideal for someone learning to play the melody on an instrument for the first time, or for creating simplified arrangements that are easier to read, follow along, and practice. These options therefore provide optimal results for different use cases. For example, a teacher might want to generate a simpler version for a beginner student, while an advanced player might prefer the more detailed version. Underneath the dropdown, you'll see a live counter showing how many notes are currently displayed out of the total notes in the transcription, along with the percentage of simplification applied. This updates as you switch between modes. An important point to note is that the same basic melody appears in all 4 modes. Difficulty modes aren't meant to create completely different songs. Rather, they each represent different levels of detail for the same basic musical idea. Therefore, switching difficulty modes adjusts how much musical detail is included. Now let's look at the 2 view modes. We are currently in the grid view. This is a visual editor for the notes. The grid view displays your transcribed notes on a scrollable, piano roll style grid. Along the left side, you'll see notes names: C3, D3, E3, so on, arranged from low to high, mirroring the layout of a piano keyboard. Time moves left to right across the grid, with each row representing a pitch and in each column representing a rhythmic step. Notes appear as colored rectangle. Each block represents a single note being played at that point in time. Notes that appear in a stronger color indicate higher confidence, meaning the AI was more certain about those pitches. Notes in a lighter or dimmer color are lower confidence detections. The grid is fully interactive. If you click on any empty cell in the grid, you add a note in that position. If you click on a note that's already there, you remove it. That means you have a full manual control over the transcription result. This is useful because AI transcription is not always perfect. You can correct mistakes the AI made, fill in notes it missed, remove notes that don't belong, and even compose in new parts entirely from scratch. You therefore have direct control over the final result. You don't have to accept the AI output exactly as is. You can scroll horizontally to move the entire piece, and vertically to navigate the full pitch range of the instrument. At the top of the grid, there are also zoom controls that let you expand or compress the view. This is useful if you want a wider overview or more precision when editing individual notes. During playback, ClefScribe can also show the current playback position, so you can visually follow where the music is in the grid. Now let's switch to the sheet music view. When you click on the sheet music tab, the grid is replaced by traditional musical notation. Instead of seeing a grid of notes, you see the kind of traditional sheet music you'd find in a printed music book or score. This is rendered based on exactly the notes you have in the grid, using a rendering engine called Open Sheet Music Display, or OSMD. You'll see your notes displayed on a standard musical staff with clef symbols, a key signature, a time signature, bar lines dividing the music into measures, and all the standard notation elements. For piano, you'll notice both the treble and bass clef. Here, music is displayed using the Grant staff, where the right hand and left hand parts separated. Now let's talk about playback. At the top of the editor, there's a play button. Clicking it will begin playing your piece using an audio synthesis engine built into ClefScribe. If the notation looks too crowded, the best step is usually to go back to the difficulty menu and choose a cleaner mode like intermediate or beginner. If you want more detail, choose Pro or Raw. You can hear how the transcription sounds using the instrument you selected, where the notes are played back using browser-based audio playback. The playback engine is built on a web audio library called tone.js, which synthesizes audio from your note data. This lets you quickly verify whether the transcription sounds correct, or hear how edits you've made to the grid translate musically. If something sounds off, you can stop playback, go back to the grid, and adjust the notes manually. Click the same button again to stop the playback. It's worth noting that while playback is active, the notation tools like Transpose, key signature, instrument, and difficulty are temporarily locked. This prevents accidental changes from occurring mid-playback. They become editable again the moment you stop playback. Once you're happy with your transcription and any edits you made, you can export it. The export panel, located at the bottom of the notation tools panel on the left, gives you 3 format options: PDF, MIDI, and XML. Exports are only available when you're in sheet music view. When you're in grid view, the export buttons will be grayed out. For the PDF option, this exports your sheet music as a professional, printable PDF document. The downloaded file will open any PDF viewer. The first page is a title page listing the project name, instrument, key signature, and tempo. Details like ClefScribe transcription, August 2026. The following page contains the full sheet music laid out in standard notation format, exactly as it appears on screen. This is the format to use when you want to print the sheet music and practice from it. MIDI exports the notes as a standard MIDI file. MIDI is not audio, rather it's a file format that encodes musical instructions, including which notes, at what time, and for how long. You can import a MIDI file into virtually any digital audio workstation, such as GarageBand, Logic Pro, FL Studio, or Ableton Live, to use it as the foundation for full production. You can also import MIDI into other musical notation software or digital audio tools, or play back through any MIDI-compatible instrument or synthesizer. XML, aka MusicXML, exports the sheet music as a MusicXML file, which is the standard interchange format for musical notation. You can open MusicXML files in professional notation programs like Finale, Sibelius, or MuseScore, which give you access to much more advanced notation editing than ClefScribe's built-in editor provides. So to summarize your export options, use PDF if you want to print and play. Use MIDI if you want to continue producing or editing in a DAW, digital audio workstation, or use XML if you want to edit advanced notation in a dedicated software. On the right side of the editor, you'll find the AI Assistant panel. This is an interactive chat interface that offers real-time musical guidance. It's aware of the context of your current project as it knows your key signature, tempo, instrument, and the notes you have in the piece. It can respond to questions and requests that involve music notation. When you first open a project, the AI greets you and explains its areas of expertise, which include chord suggestions, reharmonizations, voicings, and musical analysis. For example, if you ask for chord suggestions, the AI will suggest progressions based on your detected key. Something like in D minor, try a of try a 6-2-5-1 progression that would work well in D minor. These are standard music theory patterns that work well with your melody. You can ask it about chord progressions, as in what chords to add or how to structure the harmony underneath your melody, reharmonization, as in creative ways to replace standard chords with more interesting alternatives, voicings, as in how to arrange the notes of a chord to get the best sound for your current chosen instrument, scales and modes, which scales are compatible with your key for improvising or writing additional parts, and musical analysis, as in a breakdown of the most common notes in your piece and what they suggest about the underlying harmony. At the bottom of the panel, you can see that the AI is displaying its current context, including the key, tempo, instrument, and note count it's working with. The context is automatically updated whenever the changes are made to the piece, so the AI suggestions are always aligned with your current state of your project. Below the AI assistant, you'll find two more panels: versions and comments. The versions panel is a lightweight version history system built directly into the editor. Whenever you click the save button at the top of the editor, the current state of your project is saved, including the notes, key signature, tempo, instrument, and transpose setting at that moment. Each saved version appears as an entry in the versions list, timestamped with the date and the time it was saved, along with a summary of the key, tempo, and transpose values it's captured. If you made changes to a project and you want to go back to an earlier state, you can click the revert button. This project will immediately revert to exactly how it was in that point in time for whatever state version you clicked on. This makes it safe to experiment with edits. You can always undo your way back to an earlier version as long as you save each time you make changes. So feel free to try a different arrangement, to simplify the piece, adjust the key, or edit notes manually, and experiment as you go, without feeling like you're permanently losing an earlier version if you have saved it. The comments panel is a collaborative thread where you and anyone you shared your project with can leave notes or feedback. You can type a comment in the input field and click post to add it to the thread. This is useful for annotating specific changes you made or leaving instructions for collaborators who will be working on the same piece. At the top right of the editor, alongside the play button, you'll find two more important buttons: save and share. The save button does two things. It saves the current state of your project to cloud storage, so you can return to it whenever you close the app and come back to it later. And, as I mentioned, it creates an entry in the versions history. The share button copies a link to the editor to your keyboard. You can send this link to anyone you want to share the project with, giving them access to view and work on it collaboratively. There's also a report button next to share. If you notice a significant transcription error or encounter a bug, clicking report opens a feedback form where you can describe the issue. This goes directly to the development team and helps improve the app over time. One thing that's worth going over is how to navigate between multiple projects. In the left sidebar, your project folder sections shows all the projects you organized by folders. Folders help you keep your work organized. For example, you can have one folder for piano practice, another for class assignments, and another for original melodies you created, another for transcriptions you are still editing. You can click on any project name in the sidebar to switch directly to it in the editor without going back to it in the dashboard. This makes it easy to jump between pieces when you're working on multiple projects. At the top of the editor, you'll see the current project's title and its detected key and tempo, so you always know which project you're working on. You can therefore use ClefScribe as a workspace for building a personal library of music projects. The History tab gives you a full chronological log of all the projects you created in ClefScribe. Each entry in the table shows the project title, date and time was created, and a brief summary of its musical details, including the instrument, key, and tempo. There's an open button next to each entry that takes you directly back into that project in the editor. If you've been using ClefScribe for a while and want to start fresh, the Clear History button at the top right will delete all your saved projects from the history at once. Since this action cannot be undone, you'll be asked to confirm before anything is permanently removed. The community section is ClefScribe's shared public library, a place where users can publish their sheet music projects and discover music shared by others. Here you'll find a searchable grid of public sheet music projects submitted by other users. Each card shows the project title, the author, a star rating, a download count, and instrument tags, so you can quickly identify what kind of piece it is. You can search for projects by name using the search bar at the top right. When you find something you want to use, you can view it and to open it or save it to add it to your own project library. However, this feature is still currently in its early stages and is more of a prototype. The ability for users to publish their own transcription and have it appear publicly is still being developed. In the current version, it only shows example community items. If you want to share a project from within the editor, you can use the share button to directly copy the direct link at any time. The batch processing tab is a feature designed for situations where you need to transcribe multiple audio files at once. Instead of uploading files one at a time to the dashboard, you can select multiple audio files here and add them all in a processing queue. ClefScribe will then transcribe each file in a sequence automatically, creating a new project for each one. You can add a file to the queue by clicking on Choose Files at the top right and selecting multiple files from your device at once. This is particularly useful for teachers who want to transcribe recordings of several different pieces at once, or musicians who have a library of voice memos or demos they want to convert to sheet music in bulk, without having to upload and wait for each one individually. Each file in the queue shows its name, file size, and current processing status, whether it's waiting to be processed, currently being transcribed, creating a project, completed, or failed. When processing finishes for a file, the resulting project is automatically created and saved into your project library. The settings page is divided into two sections: Cloud Connections and Account. Cloud connections allow you to link ClefScribe with external cloud storage services, including Google Drive, Dropbox, and iCloud. Once a connection is enabled, any export you generate, whether it's a PDF, MIDI, or XML file, can be sent directly to that cloud service rather than just downloading to your local device. This is useful for keeping your sheet music organized and backed up automatically. The Account section lets you customize your profile. You can update a display name. This is a name that will appear to other users in collaborative features, and your username, which must be between 3 and 20 characters using only letters, numbers, and underscores. Your email address is displayed here as well, though it cannot be changed directly from this page. When you made changes, click Save to apply them or reset to revert back to your last saved settings if you change your mind. The AI transcription engine in ClefScribe is built on a state-of-the-art pitch detection model. But like all AI tools, it works best under certain conditions and has no limitations under others. Here's how to get the most of it. ClefScribe works best with simple, single-line melodies, such as a solo voice, a whistle, a single piano melody without accompaniment, a flute line, or a guitar riff. The transcription quality is excellent across all 4 difficulty modes. The AI reliably captures the main melodic line. In all 4 modes, raw through beginner, you'll hear the same basic tune, just with varying levels of detail and surrounding notes. It can consistently produce the clearest results with audio that is 10 to 30 seconds long in high quality, with minimal background noise. For dense, complex recordings, such as full orchestra, any piece with rich chords and multiple instruments playing simultaneously, or a heavily produced pop track, the output would be more of a lead sheet, or in other words, a simplified approximation, than a full, accurate score. This means ClefScribe will be able to capture and write out the prominent melodic material, but may simplify or miss chord voicings, inner voicings, or rapid ornamental passages. In general, transcribing dense polyphonic audio to perfect notation is an extremely difficult computational problem that even professional transcriptionists find challenging by ear. Therefore, for the rest results, upload short, clean clips of 10 to 30 seconds of a single melodic instrument. Start in intermediate mode to get a clean, readable bassline, Then switch to raw mode if you want to see more detail, or beginner mode if the transcription looks too crowded and you want to simplify for easier reading or learning. For complex recordings, use ClefScribe as a starting point, rather than a tool for producing a final, completely accurate product. The grid editor is there for this reason, as you can manually correct notes, remove errors, and fill in what the AI missed. You can therefore turn an approximate transcription into an accurate sheet music you need by adding on top of the essential elements that the AI was able to capture. Here's a quick recap of everything ClefScribe offers. For getting music in and adding music as an input, upload MP3, WAV, M4A, FLAC, MIDI, or WebM files directly from your device using drag and drop or a file browser. Use the audio segment selector to choose exactly which portion of a longer file to transcribe, or use the batch processing tab to queue up multiple files at once. For the transcription itself, during the automated transcription process, the AI runs entirely in your browser. No data is sent to an external server for processing. The engine auto detects the key signature of your piece and gives you 4 difficulty modes, including raw, pro, intermediate, and beginner, to directly control how much detail is shown. For editing, the interactive grid view lets you add and remove individual notes by clicking directly on the staff. The notation tools panel lets you adjust key signature, tempo, transpose the piece up to an octave in either direction, and select from 8 different instruments. The sheet music view renders traditional printed notation. As for the playback option, the built-in audio engine lets you preview your transcription with the synthesized instrument sound, so you can hear it before exporting. To export, download your sheet music as a PDF for printing in practice, as a MIDI file for importing into music production software, or as a MusicXML file for use in professional notation programs like MuseScore, Sibelius, or Finale. You can organize your work into different project folders for organization. For the History tab gives you a full chronological log of all your saved projects. The version history system enables you to save and revert to any previous state of a project. For collaboration and feedback, the AI assistant suggests chord progressions, reharmonizations, voicings, and scale ideas based on your key and tempo. The comments panel lets collaborators leave notes on any project. The share button generates a direct link to share access with other collaborators. And the feedback form lets you report issues or share ideas with the team. That's ClefScribe. Whether you're a beginner instrument trying to learn a melody, a musician turning an idea from a voice memo into a notation, a teacher creating practice materials for a class, or a composer sketching out arrangements, ClefScribe is designed to make audio to sheet music creation faster, more accessible, and more editable. If you found this walkthrough helpful, please like and subscribe. And if you have questions or feedback about the app, drop it in the comments below or use the feedback form directly inside ClefScribe. We read every submission. Thanks for watching and happy transcribing.